This video is all about hairstyles, clothing, and the background. Before we get into what type of hairstyle our character is going to have, we need to add some little stitches through a line. We're adding these little stitches because they are a reminder that this line needs to be erased later. You need to lightly add these stitches, like level 2 pressure. I'm going to add them heavy so that they show up on the camera. Later on, when we look at hairstyles and I say take a look at the red stitch line, I mean this thing right here. We'll pay attention to the shape that is above it, and we'll pay attention to the shape that is below it. And then later we will erase this curve that has the stitches going through it. Whether or not you're going to portray a masculine or feminine hairstyle, the same 3 rules apply. You'll choose a hairstyle, and just like I'm about to do, you need to zoom into it. The first rule is to take a look at the shape that is above the stitches. The red line is the stitches that we drew through our character, because we're going to erase it later. There is a subtle shape that is above the stitches. You'll draw that out first. Then take a look at the shape that is below the red stitch line. There is a shape that is below the red stitch line. So to hyper-focus on this, there is a shape that is above, there is a shape that is below. Once you have created a shape above and below, you then gently erase out the line with the stitches, which then creates your hairstyle. Same exact thing applies with characters with long hair. Those same 3 rules. Choose a character with a hairstyle, zoom into them, and we have our red stitch line to pay attention to. So our first rule is to take a look at the shape that is above the red stitch line. That's this right here. Then, second rule is recreate the shape that is below the red stitch line. That's this right here. To make it look a little bit more clear, I'll use this background. So we've done our rule 1 above the stitch line, rule 2 below the stitch line, rule 3 is erase your stitches. Then some hairstyles have extra things. Only add the extra after you've done those first 3 rules. This character has extra locks of hair. We're never drawing individual little strands of hair. We're drawing sections of hair. So this is what the extra sections of hair look like. And when I white out the background, this is what we would be adding to our character to portray that type of hairstyle. When adding a shirt to your character, the rule of thumb is that you want the shirt line to go up and off of the shoulder, like be raised above the shoulder. For example, if I'm going to do a shirt like this, notice how here were the regular shoulders, but the shirt is a little bit lifted up above the shoulder line, and then the original shoulder right here was erased out. So for example, if I want to do something really easy, you could draw a wide letter U. Notice how I started it above the shoulder. This line is jutting out above it. And I'll come on this side, and this line will be jutting out above the shoulder. Then I might have made my lines jut out a little too big, but I'm just trying to emphasize for the video. Then I draw and follow along the shape of the shoulder. I followed along with the shape of the shoulder. Well, this looks awkward because the original shoulder, which is now covered up with the shirt, is still there. All I have to do is erase out the shoulder. So now it looks like there is a shirt on top of the shoulder, which is covering the old shoulder, which is why you have to erase that old line out. I'll do that on this side. I just follow along. I have a line that comes out a little bit above here. I'm going to follow along with the old shoulder line. Now it looks strange because the original shoulder line is still there. I just erase out the old shoulder line. Now let's say you wanted it to be more of like a V-neck. You know, instead of doing a wide U, you could bring this up more and make it go down like a V. You know, just don't make your original shape a letter U. Make your original shape more like a V. Let's say the character is wearing a tank top. I'm going to draw the original shoulders back in, or a sleeveless shirt, okay? Let's say they're wearing a sleeveless shirt. Let me put the original shoulders back in, because you'll actually see more of their original shoulders. If they are wearing a sleeveless shirt, you just do like a letter U that gets cut off at the bottom of the page, another letter U that gets, other side of the U, I mean, that gets cut off by the bottom of the page. Pull this line up above the shoulder. Pull this line up above the shoulder. Carry it over and then down. Carry it over, above, and on top of the shoulder, and then carry it down. And it still looks strange because the old shoulder lines are showing through the shirt. Well, what you do is you erase out the part that the shirt is covering. Notice how the shirt is not one with the skin, it's slightly raised up and above the skin. At this point in time, if you want to draw a necklace on your character, or if their ears are still showing, if you want to do an earring, you can do that. To make our character look even more realistic, we're going to create something behind it. Either objects or symbols that disappear behind the character or disappear and come out the other side. So you could choose real life objects, like these are actual sunflowers. Notice how they disappear behind the character, which pushes the character forward in space and makes them look even more realistic. You don't have to choose real life things though. Like for this character, I just literally made up a shape. Just made something up. I just drew something, it disappeared behind him, and it came out the other side, and I did a fade, and the fade blended into different colors. Same thing here. just straight up made up a shape. This shape doesn't mean anything, doesn't have to mean anything. It's something that disappeared behind the character, came out the other side, and I did some cool blends and fades inside of it.